Welcome back to episode 89 of the Disorganized Wizard Club podcast. My name is Alex. I'm here as always with Adam.
Hello.
And Cam.
Hey.
And we're a group of Ottawa-based players that play just about anything and everything we can qualify for. We talk about decks, tournament stories, just about anything to help you and ourselves get better at Magic.
Almost certainly.
You're getting much more staccato with the end of this intro.
What do you mean?
Like, it used to be to help you and ourselves get better at Magic. Now it's to help you and ourselves get better at Magic.
Got to put emphasis.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's good. It sounds...
It's a lot to talk about today. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Spoiler episode.
Yeah, spoiler hype.
Top 10. I love this. I love this one.
Yeah, one of our favorite episodes. Also, Cam and I have been testing new cards too, so we have like way more opinions than normal.
But I guess we should start with, like, yeah, you mentioned spoiler episode, so spoiler warning. If you don't want to hear about spoilers, you can tune away now.
Everyone loves
Well, no,
spoilers,
it's not going to
man.
be... We'll wait a sec. We can kick it off as
Dude,
always.
funny thing though, I don't know if you guys realized, but our last spoiler episode, we, like, as a joke, we put the most clickbait title we could think of, and it got like way more hits than
I know.
all
Yeah,
the other
it's our
episodes.
most... It's like our most viewed or most listened episode.
There's
ever.
a reason
Yeah.
clickbait titles like became as crazy as
Oh
they
yeah,
are.
it was hilarious.
We gotta do it again.
Maybe we'll do it again.
Okay.
It's gonna be great.
Um,
Yeah, a lot of stuff happened. First, I want to kick this episode off by saying, man, are we just confirmed the smartest men alive saying Goblin Chain Whirler would not get banned? It did not get banned for all the reasons we said for how many weeks in a row.
And like the reasons they gave were exactly what we said. It's trending downwards. It's actually not the problem card in the deck.
Yeah.
I wonder if, because coverage was so adamant that it should get banned, complaining about it as players played it at GPs, etc., and coverage is instructed by WotC, and then their tune suddenly changed in this article, and the only thing that happened in the meantime was that we released an episode. Someone at WotC probably listened, and they're like, hey, you know,
This is a great conspiracy.
maybe we should...
These
and
guys make good points.
They sent it up to their higher ups, their supervisors, and
I also got a job this week.
Man, it's been a crazy week.
Wow.
Yeah. It's been a long time since we could have said on this cast that Adam Ben is an employed man.
Well, I don't start till September. Let's not get crazy here. But Professor Ben's back, baby.
Oh, man.
it's a good role for somebody who only says insightful and correct things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Working part-time at the university.
Man, things are
As a-
happening in the DWC.
Contract instructor, yeah. It's a professor, yeah. Feels weird. Gonna be back on
An
a
actual-
respectable
An actual schedule.
contributing member of society. Feels really weird, man. But yeah, exactly what we said. Chain Whirler's fine.
Yeah.
It's the other cards.
Yeah. Shocking.
Played a bunch of test games against Red with some brews, of newer cards, trying to see, well, like, this is the test, right? If they get crushed by Red, then we got to throw them in the trash.
Yep.
And lost to Hazard and Chandra a bunch.
Wow.
And then I was like, well, I can't play this deck. Chain Whirler didn't matter. Can't ever beat these actual cards, though.
Crazy.
So, yeah, throw those decks in the trash and move on to the next brew. And so, yeah, we're right. Not much else. They banned Deathrite, which I don't think anyone was surprised.
No, a lot of people calling that for a while now.
Yeah, it was sort of like, do you remember when they were leading up to banning Top? They were like, there's that meme with like the picture outside of WotC headquarters, like ban divining Top. Like people just hated it so much. Like Deathrite Shaman basically the same.
Yeah.
People hated it less because it was like not as miserable, I guess, to play against, but it was way more present and way more dominant than Top ever was. So yeah, gone. Get Probe gone.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you got to ban a fair card, quote unquote fair card, Deathrite, you got to ban an unfair card.
Yep.
And this card is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So makes sense. Bans are fine. I think it's good for Legacy. I think it's actively good for Legacy.
Yeah.
So.
I have nothing wrong with those bans for sure.
And no changes in Modern,
Yeah.
which is good. I think
Modern's fine.
this ban announcement was totally fine.
Yeah. Man, so much happened this last week. We even went and played Modern on Saturday too.
Oh yeah, I forgot
At
about
the
that.
Wizards Tower.
Oh, yeah.
Great sponsor of this podcast. If you're playing pre-release this weekend, they have midnight. We're actually recording an hour and a half before midnight pre-release. So
There's
this is not.
no
No,
midnight.
they got rid of it.
Oh, there's no midnight
There
pre-release.
hasn't
now,
been
but-
one for a while.
Yeah.
They polled people, and people
Well,
said that they would rather
They're
sleep.
recording the night before 9 a.m., which is
Yes.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
And they have 6 events all weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
9 a.m., 2 p.m., and then two-headed giant at 6 or 7 p.m.
At 7 p.m.
Yeah, 7
and
p.m.
the same schedule both days, Saturday,
Yeah.
Sunday.
I'm playing 9 a.m. on Sunday, but I
We're
have to work
playing-
everything else. But
We're playing tomorrow
Yeah.
at 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. I haven't decided on Sunday, but Cam is, I think.
yeah.
Mhm.
So come say hi if you're a local.
Yeah.
You probably already know us anyway, but
And make sure you check out wizardtower.com for all your Magic single needs.
Pre-orders,
shipping.
yeah,
in the
pre-orders
country.
available now.
Oh yeah, pre-orders. I pre-ordered some cards.
Oh man,
I never do that.
we're gonna talk about those cards.
Yeah,
I'm not going to
spoilers.
say anything. Although I will hold off on which cards I pre-ordered.
And yeah, Adam and I both played Modern on Saturday. I top 8'd playing Tron. Made a lot of people miserable. It was a great time. You got smashed all day,
Yeah,
but
I
still admitted you had a good time.
yeah, it was fine because like I played against like very like everyone was friendly and it was cool and like all my opponents were great and
Well, there's the hilarious moment we were sitting side by side for round 1 and I look over in your game 2 and what was in play.
I had an ensnaring bridge in play, a blood moon, two young pyromancers, and I was flashing back 2 lingering souls
Against Boggles.
against Boggles. So he was
And
just
you're like,
sitting
man,
there.
this game's fun interactive. I just burst
He was
out
just sitting
laughing.
there miserable as I would like drop my card for a turn and be like attack for 7, you know? And he'd be like, you block 1, you know, like yeah. So
Yeah.
that was a fun and I played against Boggles twice that day. Lost 1, won 1. Neither game and all 6 games I played against Boggles, no decisions whatsoever mattered.
Mm-hmm.
So that was cool.
I lost a blue white and control round 1 to Stony Silence in both games 2 and 3.
I watched. I was also sitting
Cards
beside you.
Cards very
No,
good.
I looked around the room the whole time and I was like, wow, no one's decisions are mattering. It was just, I've
still-
never seen so many blood moons and everyone there was playing Ensnaring Bridge. So
Yeah.
if you're playing Modern right now, like you have to be prepared for these cards.
Like side note, kind of in line with spoilers, I don't understand why people are so excited for Alpine Moon. That card sucks. If you want to beat Tron, don't play Alpine Moon.
Yeah, that card's bad.
Play Stony Silence.
That card's good.
Man, you're going to tell me my Tron land now taps for any color of mana and doesn't set me back at all, and I can still do whatever the hell I want?
Right, I could still
Any color.
Sylvan Scrying.
Colorless, right?
Any color.
Mm.
Your land, if they name Urza's Tower with their Alpine Moon, let me just pull it up right here. Where is it? Boom. Add 1 mana of any color.
Yeah, it's not good.
Right on.
So yeah, then I
don't understand why people think it's going to be great
it's not.
and it's going to end Tron. Like, it's ridiculous.
It's irrelevant.
If you want to beat Tron, play Stony Silence in your sideboard.
And pressure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was funny though. My first 3 rounds of this event, I played against Leyline of Sanctity all 3 rounds. They weren't all against Boggles, which I thought was funny.
You
But
played
I did
Mardu
get-
Pyromancer, right?
Yes, I played Mardu Pyromancer, and I did get turn 1 like Leyline game 1, obviously against Boggles,
Of course.
And so like my thoughts, whatever.
Yeah.
Blood Moon was like the only good card in the deck. Is a whole reason to play the deck, in my opinion. It was nuts. I know there's some advocates of cutting it in Mardu Pyromancer, but it was insane. It was the only reason I won games. Like versus Burn, it shut off stuff. Like it was so good. But I thought it was funny that like the format has degenerated so much that I played against main deck Leylines, Blood Moons, and Ensnaring Bridges like all day, and I was also playing those cards in my fair deck. Right,
Yeah.
like it was really funny. And then like my last round, I lost, which I thought was a good matchup, and it is a good matchup. I lost to Empty Boys, like Hollowed One.
Nice.
Where I got like comically drawn out. Like it was like, I think it was like a turn 2, like double. No, wasn't it? Oh yeah, it was Cycle Street Wraith into double looting, like double Hollowed One.
Nice.
Gurmag Angler, and I was like, that's a yikers. Like it was just like, yeah, that was like, so that was my game against. But like that matchup, if they don't have the nut draw, it's pretty good because you have Colligan's commands for the Hollowed Ones.
Yeah.
Like you have answers and Lingering Souls helps, but yeah, like the deck was fine. I played Modern. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Cam went to Nationals.
Yeah. I just realized what happened with Verse Mike and the top 8 is going to be our blowout of the week.
Oh,
Instead of we're switching it. I'm sorry, I'm hijacking the blowout of the week. We had a different blowout plan, but I'm taking it because this story's way better.
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
But
But I top 8'd and then conceded to Mike after I beat him. Because he had better top 4 matchups, and then he got smashed in the semis.
Yep.
Mike, previous podcast host of this show, so people will
He doesn't play as
remember
much
him.
anymore.
No, and yeah,
He got smashed.
great. Stay tuned for the end of the episode. It's a great story.
He might start playing more now because he's a big Rug Delver fan in Legacy, right?
Big rug player now.
Yeah.
The goose is loose, baby. I love how like literally 10 minutes after the ban, our friend Ted, who also only plays like Rug Delver, just man, Rug Delver was unbeatable before. Now it has literally 0 bad matchups. Like, just ranting about it on like some Facebook group. It showed up in my newsfeed, you know, and they just all caps, the goose is loose. And it was like literally like 2 minutes after the banning, just yelling. It was so funny. And then Brierly also messaged me and he goes, like, Mike, he messages me and he's like, just what because he sold out like a lot of his collection. He messages me and he goes, just when I thought it was out.
Yeah, he sold a bunch of his old duels to put a down payment on a house.
Yeah, man. He's like, they pulled me back in. Like, you know what I mean? I thought it was out. Now I can play Rug Delver. Like,
Man, but yeah, aside from us talking about how we played casual formats this weekend, Cam went to Nationals in Toronto.
Sure did.
And how'd your tournament go?
You did carry on the legacy of the DWC, just actually mangling every relevant limited tournament we play in.
Yeah, my limited portion went quite well. I went 5-1 in limited, only losing to Cale Thomas, who won Nationals previously. Cale Thompson, sorry.
Yeah, he won last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, only losing in limited to last year's champion. And it was like a close game, too. Like, he had a syncopate the turn he needed it, or I probably would have won in like another couple turns. But instead, his entire board lived. Like, both our boards lived instead of mine eating his.
Okay.
Because he countered a Radiant Lightning. And then he kicked Grun, and I had to start chump blocking it, and it eventually killed me.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it was still a close match. Went to 3 games, so limited portion went quite well. This limited. It was interesting because I went down with our friend Curtis, who this was his he hasn't been to GPs before. This was his first sort of large competitive Magic event, and he was nervous, kind of had the jitters, like going into the draft, like because he's only drafted locally. He wasn't sure like what the skill level would be like at these drafts.
Yeah, I taught that guy to draft though. He's fine.
And then his deck came out nuts. Like, he just got everything you could ever want, like two Yawgmoth's Files offerings and a bunch of legendaries.
Like his legendary
2
deck.
in-bowls clutches, like, just the nut.
Just on easy mode.
And all of his opponent's decks were, like, medium 2-color decks, and he just stomped them. And he's like, yeah, I don't know what I was worried about. Like, nobody here seemed to know what they were doing. And it was a common sentiment, too. As they finished the standard rounds and they were making the announcements about setting up the tables for the pods and about how the draft procedure is going to work, multiple people in the room, you kind of heard it like echoing around the convention hall.
Yeah.
People saying, now, like, here's where the tournament goes sour. Like, now I got a draft. Like, oh, I wish the whole thing was standard. Like, I don't know what's going on in this set. Like, I don't like this format. Like,
that's wild. This format's great.
People just don't like limited. They don't practice it.
Yeah, we had this conversation recently with Pete, right? When we were like talking about, it's so funny, like you'll often see newer players come out, you know, to a store and they're thinking in their heads, oh, well, I'll just draft. Like, no one's bringing cards from home. No one has like a net deck, you know, no one has tier 1 decks. So it's fair, you know, like, I'll just play these limited decks. And it's like, no, it's going to be way worse for you because people who are good drafters are going to smash you. Like, you can show up with like your funny elves tribal deck and like probably win a game or two, you know, because like, if you brought your cards from home, presumably, like, you know at least somewhat of the power level and, like, standard cards that you're going to choose. Like, maybe you just have a Nissa Vital you're forcing your deck and it steals a game. You know, like, that can happen. But in Limited, if you don't know how to, like, build a mana base and, you know, like, I recently saw someone playing, like, 13 lands, 27 cards. And they're, like, 7 drops in Limited. And I just wanted to say to them, like, what? Like, you can't do, you know what I mean? Like,
They just don't know.
Yeah, and they're, like... They came and they were like, oh, I normally play DH, but like I didn't want to play constructed because, you know, it's more fair and it's like limited. It's like, no, it's not. And then I drafted and just like smashed everyone's pod. And it's like, well, no, that's what Cam's saying. Like limited just takes tons of practice.
The difference between like weak limited decks and strong limited decks is going to be so much more than the difference between like your tier 2 standard deck or like your tier 1 standard deck played on a medium level versus any other standard deck. Like, it's going to be so much worse for you.
You can show up with your tier 3 standard brew and like probably steal a game from like red black. You know? You definitely can. But if you're talking about a unplayable limited deck, it's just not playable. There's no stealing games. Like, it's just bad.
And like,
you can't beat a grizzly bear.
It's also just like an amount of required preparation too. Like, if you want to play a standard tournament and say you decide to go on short notice, you can pick a deck, sort of read a sideboard guide about that deck and learn its matchups. If you want to walk into a draft and do well, you have to know every card, every archetype, when cards are going to be taken, when they're likely going to be passed.
What's a signal?
What's a signal? What you want to sideboard against different archetypes? Like what you need to just you need to know you need to know the entire format.
Yep. Yeah. So because of our mastery of the limited format.
Yeah, I know all of that.
I think because you 5-1 last year.
No, I 2-1 both drafts last year.
Oh, sorry, you're 4-2.
Yeah.
You 5-1 last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, the DWC's national draft record's pretty good.
I think my record both years
both
was
my
exactly
decks
the
last
same.
year were so good.
Oh yeah, didn't you get like very unlucky both the losses because your decks was just
man, yeah, it was crazy. I lost to I lost in the finals of both draft, like in round 3 of both drafts, and there was to what's his name, Toronto player, friend of Ben's,
Goldfarb.
He's
a very good limited player.
Yeah,
I have played a lot of limited with him.
My deck was so much better than his too, and he just had everything, and I just got like a little unlucky on a few draws, and he played so well and just took advantage of it and crushed me.
He's an excellent limited player.
He's very, very good.
I've played a lot of stayed at houses with him and played done jam drafts with him for hours.
After the match we sat down and like broke down games, and I don't think I could have done anything differently. Like he was just able to capitalize on some poor draws, like a string of poor draws, and yeah, he played really well. He
always knows the formats very well too. Yeah. And he does exactly what Cam does. He plays a ton. He plays with his dad. That's how he got into it. You know, like
we were side by side during the draft. Like he was to my left and I was on the right. And after the draft, we just kind of turned to each other and we're like, "Okay, I know what you drafted." Like he's like, "You drafted Busted Murph, okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, you drafted Black White, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." But the guy on his left was also drafting Black White, so he got cut in pack 2, and they fought over it. Where I just drafted Murfolk and it was disgusting. This is Ixalan Rivals. Was it Rivals last year or just 3 Ixalan?
Triple Ixalan.
It was triple Ixalan, yeah.
So
yeah,
but yeah, how'd your standard was like whatever, right?
Standard actually, like it didn't go great, but
yeah, but that's
so I ended up 8-4 overall. So went 3-3 in standard. Yeah, it was like a win out of prize. And yeah, standard went fine. Like the matchups that I had prepared for and expected, like went well. I played against 4 red or red-black decks. Lost to one of them when they just had like multiple 4-drops on curve. Like the draws that kill you out of that deck kill anybody.
Right, exactly. But we were quite prepared with tokens for that matchup, and we thought it was quite easy. And those were you just
and like
them.
I beat the other 3 red-black decks like quite easily.
Yeah.
Wait, you
beat Chain Whirler with
tokens?
So yeah.
Wait, you played 1/1s in a Chain Whirler meta, and you went 3-1 against red aggro decks?
Yeah, so like unfortunately I had already submitted my deck list when friend of the show Ben told me that it had no good matchups. But I managed to sit next to him due to random chance in my next match where I played against red-black. And I know the matchup's not good, but like I was at 114 life while they had no creatures.
Top decking.
So I got pretty lucky.
Ben changed his tune after that, didn't he?
No. He just didn't talk about it again.
But
I didn't bring it up.
You can't play 1/1s in a Chain Whirler meta, Cam.
I'm
Don't
undefeated.
you know that?
Like I'm undefeated in comp REL against red decks.
And like competitive REL between Adam and I playing this deck,
I think
we're like
X and 1.
Yeah, X and 1 against red-black, playing it 6 or 7 times.
More than that.
Yeah, more than that.
So yeah, it's just funny. Like and then didn't you play Approach?
I lost to Approach, which
that matchup sucks.
It's unwinnable.
Very
and we just
bad.
It's funny because our friend Chad lost to it too, and like I just keep saying like, nah, just like who cares? You can't win. Like you won't play against it, and then we always get paired against it. It's so funny.
I got paired against it last year at Nationals when I played tokens.
Bad.
I mean, I took game 2 off him, so I wouldn't say it's unwinnable. It's a stretch. It's a very, very bad matchup. But like,
it's so lucky I got 0-2 smashed so bad. Not close.
I had a turn 2 Bloodfast, and that did a lot of work.
Yeah,
which found a Lost Legacy, and he like fought over a Karn, and then the Lost Legacy resolved, and I took the Approaches, and then I had as much time as I wanted game 2 to just slowly kill Teferis.
Yeah,
and then game 3 I just got approached. But
what else did you lose? Oh, you lost a little hilarious. Like,
and then I lost to Green White Angels.
Nice,
because I like kind of had a slow setup game 1, and I was like he played like a green land first. And I was like, oh, like this Fumigate in my hand is going to be sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And then he plays like Aethersphere Harvester, Sky Sovereign, and a Johnny.
Yikes.
And those crumple me.
Yeah.
And then game 2 again, like I have sort of a slow hand and just die.
Yeah.
Well, he's green white, so he just has like infinite enchantment and artifact removal, which is again not something we're prepared for. So this is the risk you take when you take a deck that's like designed to beat a metagame, and then you just
Yes.
play against the brews, and you're like, yeah, okay, like I can't beat brews, like I can't beat what is it? I can't beat God draws and random cards. Like, wasn't that the old meme we used to say all the time? I forgot about
that's
that.
still great.
I love that. Well, can't beat God draws and random cards.
Quote of the year.
Yeah, dude, I still crack it.
Man.
Yeah, I love that.
Put that on a shirt or something. God damn.
DWC can't beat God draws and random cards. I'm like, we
Those
gotta
are
make DWC shirts that say that.
Those would make good
that'd be
sleeves.
hilarious.
Yeah,
Oh,
can't beat
man.
God draws and random cards.
Nationals went well.
Fun trip.
Yeah, it was a good trip.
You went with a cool crew. Yeah, that's always the best part of traveling
Yeah.
to tournaments. Maybe now that I'm gainfully employed,
I miss traveling to
Well,
tournaments.
we're
It's
gonna,
been so long.
we can start again because I'm gainfully employed. You're gainfully employed. Cam's gainfully employed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
We're getting that loot.
And I missed like competitive
Let's go to a
Magic, like-
team tournament. Isn't there one?
Yeah, we
soon?
should. The DWC team. Yeah, we'll go to one for sure.
There's
we should.
there's a Team Unified Modern one.
That's a yikers.
Oh man. could you guys imagine going to play Team
Everyone
Unified
just
Modern?
all miserable. Yeah, again, the daily misery of my existence, Alex.
Oh, that'd be so much fun
trying
to
to-
talk about though.
But yeah, it was a busy week. That was fun.
Yeah.
Lots to talk about going forward though.
U.S. Nationals happened as well.
Yeah, won by Blue Black Midrange, which did I call this on the podcast? What did I say?
You said that Nationals would have overrepresented Blue Black, which was the case
we
in
did
America.
say it was poised to have a good weekend.
Yeah, I said it would be overrepresented
Yeah.
and and then it won.
The Canadian metagame, I think, was still very, very red and red black. It was,
was
everywhere.
behind.
There was a lot of mirrors. It was behind, yeah.
That happened last year. The Canadian metagame is always a step behind, like a few weeks behind the U.S. metagame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're just slowy.
Yeah.
But yeah, new U.S. Nationals won by Blue Black, and the other guy also qualifies for the national team, and he was playing kind of funky like
Esper Control.
Esper.
It was like an
Control,
Esper homebrew. type
Yeah,
thing,
but it was good. Like it
Yeah.
had, like a bunch of like Elder Reborn main, but it was a cool deck, and it was an interesting.
He was the
match.
one that had 4 Doomfall main deck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah, it was sweet.
That's
It
great.
was cool to watch. There was also the Sifter Worm deck that top 16'd, which is anyone's looking for a sweet brew. That thing is wild. I played some test games with it against Cam, and we didn't think it would be good. And it turns out, just like against red decks, you cast Hour of Devastation, you win because it kills Hazoret and Chandra.
I can't tell how good it is in the meta at large, but I definitely underestimated it, and its red matchup is quite good.
It's comical. Like, you
Yes.
would not think it's as good as it is, and it's outrageously because you're a deck with no creatures and 7-drop creatures. Like your only creatures are 4 7-drops.
That's funny.
And
they gain 10 when you play him.
yeah, that's why. So that deck was cool. If anyone, you can find the top 16 list from Nationals. It's one of the cool breakout decks from it, I thought.
Nice.
And we played against Blue Black Control or Blue Black Midrange as well, and it was a good deck. So
Yeah. All right. Well, like the clickbait title probably hinted at, this is our spoiler episode for Core 19,
We're
2019.
gonna move on from week that was to weeks that will be.
So, like we do with every spoiler episode, we're going to break down our top 10 cards from the set. This is standard focused. We're going to go from 10 to 1. Cards we're most excited for and think are going to...
I love how you had to clarify. We're gonna go 10 to 1 because if anyone remembers the last spoiler
Cam
episode,
messed it up
just
last time.
immediately yelled out like he's like number 1. Just yells it. What card was it?
It was Karn.
Oh yeah, it was card.
yeah.
Because we were talking about Tron or something, and you were mentioning Karn Liberated. And it was just a perfect segue.
Yeah. So we're gonna start at 10 though this time.
Yeah,
All right.
like normal.
We're gonna do honorable mentions after,
I'll
but
agree.
yeah, like Alex
Yeah.
said, this is standard focused.
Yeah, cards we're excited for standard that we think will do good and see play.
And they're also just fun.
Yeah,
So cards that might not even be great, but we're excited to test and excited to play games with. And
They got potential.
we think they're cool.
you got potential kid.
All right. Number 10, Stitcher Supplier. A lot of people have been talking about this card already. 1 mana black, 1/1 zombie. When it enters play, you mill 3. When it dies, you mill 3.
Why is that good?
I mean, Blue Black Gift was a deck before, and it's going to continue to be a deck because of this card exactly.
Yeah, I think it's kind of fallen out of favor, but this is the kind of enabler that goes a long way in putting these kind of decks over the top.
Yeah.
Getting
Like, I played Blue Black Gift when it first kind of broke out, and the deck was fine. It's just you couldn't consistently get 6 creatures into your graveyard for Gate to the Afterlife. And now you have 8 1-drops that each will mill 6 cards on their own.
And our creatures.
And are also creatures.
that you can block with
Yeah.
and then put it the 7, you
Yeah,
know.
it's just a great enabler, and even outside of gift decks, like it's fine. Doing graveyard stuff is always good.
Yeah, I mean, I think like outside of that it's iffy, but
I mean,
if anything is graveyard relevant, then it's going to be great.
Yeah, I think it's a really good enabler for blue black gift in the.
That's good enough.
Chromatic. Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean?
it's a cool card. Enablers are great.
Yep.
It's going to be good.
Discards kind of a both synergy with that card. Our next on our list is a synergy with this card, but also maybe an anti-gift. Oh no, it's only your own, right?
Yeah, from your graveyard.
That's just synergy. This is a
this
combo.
one? Take this one.
The number 9 on our list is Graveyard Marshal, which is a double black 3/2 zombie soldier. I think the reason this is on here is it's black and 2, and you can exile a creature card from your graveyard and create a tap 2/2 black zombie creature token. This card's pretty powerful.
2 mana 3/2. Like if zombies ends up being good in any way, this card is definitely really good. It's great on turn 2, and it's still a really good draw in the late game as well.
It's an aggressive threat. Late game, it turns your whole graveyard into 2/2s.
Yeah.
You know, it's anti-Scarab God for your own graveyard. You know, like you can protect your own creatures from Scarab God by leaving this up.
Yep.
So yeah, it's just like a lot of utility.
If this sees play, here's my prediction. It's not going to be in a zombies deck. We tried it, like a preliminary zombies list.
Mhm.
And even though it was preliminary, it was like pretty clear that the few more extra cards that have been added to standard for zombies like don't make up what that deck was lacking. Like they don't.
Yeah.
You just have a bunch of creatures and you can't draw cards, and removal disrupts your entire plan. Like you don't have what you used to with Crypt Breaker or Relentless Dead.
Yeah, I think you're right. If this card sees play, it's like a plan B for gift decks about getting their stuff countered if they have a million creatures, right? For blue black gifts, right? They can have a million creatures in their graveyard, and this is a plan B to just make 2/2s and put pressure. This is a mid-range card that just tries to get value. Maybe there's
people were playing mono black control decks before. I think this card's fine in a mono black deck. If you're playing like Dread Shades, this card, Scrap Heaps, like
definitely
it's fine.
Yeah.
You know? It's just another 2-drop.
And after rotation, I think this is a card that gets better.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so don't like think it has to be in a zombies deck.
Right, yeah.
Put it in any deck with black mana.
Yeah, it's just a good value card, right? Like it just is a good graveyard synergy. You know, making use of your graveyard is just free resources, right? When you have cards like this. So could see like this is a card that could see play in a zombie deck or not, which is why it's on the list. It's kind of it's versatile, it's interesting, it's aggressive, but it can also create blockers, you know, does a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm about this card though.
Moving on, number 8. I want to take this one, Cam.
So staying on theme of like coming back from graveyards, this is Spit Flame, which is it costs 2 and a red. It's a 3 mana instant, deals 4 damage to a creature. And then its upside is that whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under your control, you can pay a red and return it to your hand from the graveyard.
Shout outs, throwbacks to Hammer of Bogarden and various other return burn spells. The burn returns.
Yeah.
The Flamacald lives once again.
Yeah. So what I like about this card is it kills Glorybringer. It's recursive. Like if dragons end up being real,
Kills balls.
it's fine. Yeah, kills Bolus. Cards are gonna get played. That's sweet.
Probably.
Yeah, it's an instant too.
I mean, kills everything that isn't Scarab God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kills Chain Whirler. You know, like it kills everything. And Glorybringer, like normally the tribal cards make me a little nervous, right? But Glorybringer is a card, and you would you can play 4 of that card in your deck, right? Like the green red monsters deck that won a GP at the beginning of last season, right? Those cards are all still legal.
Yep.
There are other playable dragons in standard now. If you ever get this back late game, it's buying back removal spells is insane.
Yep.
It lets you use them fairly liberally to like stabilize the board and like, get yourself into a position where you're both top decking. And then if you ever top deck a dragon, it comes with 2 to 3 removal spells.
Late game, that's so powerful.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, but it might not be good. But I think like it's like Alex said, if dragons are playable, then this is
it definitely it has a lot of potential, and I wouldn't be surprised to see like a few copies of it floating around in deck lists.
It's not as bad as the Scarab God, but it has a similar feel to it where like the game is stabilized, you're both top decking, and then your opponent plays a Scarab God. You know you're not immediately dead.
No, you know you're immediately
But, well, you're not literally immediately dead, but you know that nothing you really do in the next few turns is going to matter, and you'll eventually get buried.
So you're figuratively.
Yes.
This is the instant
And this has,
version.
It has the same sort of feel when your opponent like finally draws something and gets back 3 of those. You know that your next 3 draw steps that are creatures don't do anything, and in that time you'll die to something else.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Can you imagine this thing went face?
That'd be sweet.
nuts.
That would be out of control.
That'd
If
be
this thing
so
went face.
busted.
It would be too good. It would be
would-
actually too good.
It would be out of control and into aggro.
Yeah, spit off fireman. Anyway, the card's cool. It's interesting.
All right. Moving on. Number 7. Tezzeret, Artifice Master. 5 mana, 2 blue and 3. 5 loyalty. +1, create a 1/1 Thopter artifact creature token with flying. 0, draw a card. If you control 3 or more artifacts, you draw 2 cards. And -9, you get an emblem with, at the beginning of your end step, search your library for a permanent and put it on the battlefield, then shuffle your library.
It's just any permanent, not an artifact.
Any permanent.
Oh, we could go get omniscience. And then cast all these cards we drew. Oh, no, we didn't draw cards because we've been taken up.
Yeah.
Never mind.
So this card's interesting. I don't think it's the missing the card that artifact decks were missing, but I think it's fine.
I think it's like it doesn't need much though to be good. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it needs a Whirler Virtuoso and some energy,
Mm-hmm.
and then it ticks up and makes a Thopter, and then the Whirler makes 2, and then you start drawing 2 cards a turn.
Like if you have any sort of like board built up and you can just play this and start zeroing every turn, like it's gonna get out of control.
Right, and this is sort of like follows the Ob Nixilis model of like a 5 mana Planeswalker in some ways.
Yeah.
Like it does something on its, whatever, it draws a card.
Yeah.
Its emblem sort of wins the game.
Like I'd be perfectly happy just playing this after I played a Whirler Virtuoso and just zeroing every turn until my opponent dies.
Right, yeah, exactly. Like it's in the right decks, it's going to be good. The decks that want this effect and card draw, but also I think it's cool because not only can it go in those decks where they just sort of want the value from it, it can go in like dedicated, Thopter decks, right? Like the sort of improvised decks that people were trying and people want to be good. This is another piece. So increasingly over the last 8 sets, and now moving into 9 set standard, people have been trying to make the improvised decks work.
Yeah.
And, this is just another tool that people can try out. So I think it's cool. I am biased because I liked playing those improvised decks.
Yeah, because like, would you be totally unhappy just playing this on 5, drawing 2 cards? Your opponent attacks it down to like 1, then you draw 2 cards again, and then your opponent kills it the next turn.
Busted.
So you gained like 8 life and
draw
draw 4 cards
for 5 mana. Yeah, that's busted out of control.
Seems fine.
Where I'm actually curious to like start testing with this card is in the Antiquities War decks.
Yes.
One of them actually top 8 at Canadian Nationals. At
Really?
least I saw
Yeah.
someone with one in play as I was leaving the event, and they was playing in top 8.
Yeah, the combo Antiquities War deck.
And like,
Nice.
because I played against that deck week 1 or week 2 of this standard, and oftentimes it's kind of like a shotgun deck, right? Like it draws its 1 copy of Antiquities War for the game. It uses the first 2 chapters to set up. It plays a bunch of artifacts, and it has its huge turn. And if the opponent's not dead, then it has no cards in hand and it can't do anything. It has to like hope it draws another Antiquities of War, hope it can survive another 3 turns.
Yeah.
But if you get to play out artifacts, play the Antiquities War, have your next couple turns developing more artifacts. This even makes a Thopter, which could become a 5/5, but you use your huge swing. Your artifacts are going to live because they're 5/5s. They can't kill all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then this bridges that gap. As your opponent used a lot of their resources to not die, you'll get 1 to 2 turns with this to draw 4 cards, so 2 to 4 cards, to dig into another Antiquities War, to dig into more things that dig for the Antiquities War, to find more artifacts, to set up for the second hit. And that actually makes that deck
The
terrifying.
Thopters might even be enough to kill him. You know what I
Right,
mean?
the Thopters might be
Yeah.
enough. It just gives you that refuel that the deck didn't have previously.
Yeah, definitely. It's an interesting card. I'm sure it's going to see experimental play across.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
might not end up shaking out that it sees standard play.
I mean, once rotation happens, I think this card's probably unplayable.
Yeah, losing a lot of the Thopters and whatever, unless
Yeah.
there's more artifacts. There are some Thopterist style cards, but losing like Whirler Virtuoso or a lot of the older artifacts from Kaladesh block,
Yeah.
thank God. Yeah, this card probably sees a lot less play, unless somehow someone finds an artifact shell. But
Yeah.
that's an interesting
I
card.
think it has its most potential
Now.
in the next few months until we see sets rotate.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right, Adam, take this one.
Oh yeah, this is a Johnny, Adversary of Tyrants. It's 2 and 2 white. His comes in at 4 loyalty. +1 is you put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 creatures. -2, return target creature with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. And emblem is -7, and it's at the beginning of your end step. Create 3 1/1 white cat creature tokens with lifelink.
Yeah. So this is our number 6. I've seen a lot of listened to a lot of other podcasts or people talk about this card, and they rate this card pretty highly. We're not so sold on it.
So I was originally very excited about it. I tried it out in some decks over the last couple days, and it was okay. Like it was okay. It was fine. Like it's it's good. If you're playing like the green white decks, which is I assume like where most people are going to put it.
I think it's fine in like black white as well. As long as you have Walking Ballista in your deck, I think you're doing okay.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah. I had some Walking Ballistas,
Yeah.
and you put some counters on Walking Ballista. Like that's a solid. Like you can't. That's never going to be that bad.
Yeah.
The problem is like against the mid range decks. Like I was playing some games against like Grixis mid range or blue black mid range, and I just got stomped. And I like draw this, and I'm like, ugh. Like, I guess I'll put a counter on my like. Either I'm putting a counter on like 2 medium creatures that are already outclassed and won't be big enough, or I'm minusing and getting back like a Merfolk Branchwalker.
That's already outclassed.
That's already outclassed. And it was sort of like, so this is a card that like you already need to be like ahead on board for it to be like very good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's not like Chandra or Karn where it's just like going to create a crazy amount of advantage just by being in play. You need other things to be going right, and that concerns me. Like, after like originally, I would have been like, for sure, this should be like top 5 on the list. But having played with it now, I'm like a little concerned about its ability to do things. But I still think it's going to end up just being like a solid role player in both white aggressive decks, black white vehicles, if that's a thing that people want to do. I think after rotation, then I'm more interested when it, is the curve after History of Benalia.
Yeah.
Even now, but History of Benalia, I think gets better after rotation, and then this. That's already a thing, but History of Benalia into this is nuts. So now we're talking about
2/3/3s.
2/3/3s that attack for 5 the turn after, right?
Yeah,
well, actually, sorry, 6, because you just
you can
put
pick
them
up
on them again.
Yeah.
So that's a huge board. So the card still has a ton of potential. So
yeah,
I don't know if
think
there's
that's
anything
fair.
else to add.
No, I think people are going to try it out definitely. Obviously, great with Walking Ballista. Not much else to say about it though. Like, we'll see.
Could you put it in a snake deck if the mana was good enough? Like.
There's already like those Abzan Angel decks with like Shalai and Winding Constrictor, so
yeah, so like it's it could see play across multiple archetypes, which I think is like why it's on this list. So
all right, moving on to number 5.
Speaking of a card that can see play in multiple archetypes,
can it though? It's okay, so it's green. That's already kind of a tick against it. But if a green deck is around, I think this will be the premier 2-drop of green decks going forward, unless they're playing like Servant or some Mana Dork. But if you're trying to be aggressive, you would play this card, which is Thorn Lieutenant. It costs 1 and a green, 2 mana, 2/3 creature. It's an elf warrior. And whenever it becomes the target of a spell or an ability that an opponent controls, you make a 1/1 elf token. And then it has an activation for 6 for 5 and a green, which gives it +4/+4. So it becomes a 6/7.
Man, this card wants to be Sylvan Advocate so bad.
it's the poor man's Sylvan Advocate.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe it'll be good. I don't think the elf archetype will be great because the Lord, the Elvish Clan Caller,
Yeah.
that's a 1/1.
Yeah.
And in a World of Chain Whirler,
Wait,
unfortunately,
whoa.
I'm saying unfortunately that is a card you can't play in this world
Yeah.
because you play it on 2 and it gets Chain Whirler. Like
It's not giving you enough of an advantage.
And it costs a card.
Yeah.
It's an actual card that dies, that can't replace itself.
right,
Yeah.
like
Well,
and
it can,
the
but-
potential of it living actually isn't even that great until like turn 6 when you can ramp up. This is the Elvish Clan Caller I'm talking
Yeah.
about, right? But this card is just a 2 mana 2/3. That's already a workhorse that attacks and blocks early.
Yeah.
And like at first you're like 6 is a lot, but not really.
No, it comes up like more than you would expect. If you have Llanowar Elves around, it's much sooner.
Like we already played with this card, and attacking as a 6/7 was pretty strong.
Yeah,
like green decks have been lacking on their 2 slot for a while.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
people play Merfolk Branchwalker. I think this card, like,
Way better.
is way better.
They
Like-
just need 2s that scale into the late game, which is exactly what this activated ability does.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. They haven't had a 2 that scaled in the late game since Advocate, right? And they need that, and this card does exactly that. And it's funny, you think about the green decks, if they don't have Llanowar Elves on 1, their deck is just atrocious because all their best cards are 3-drops.
Yeah.
Right? Like Rishkar, Steel Leaf Champion, and like basically any of their powerful plays come on 3, not 2.
Yeah.
And so this helps them out a lot. And but I also think that if there's a green mid-range deck it would need other pieces to come together. Yeah, this is a card that would see play on that too.
It's also a type of card that like your opponents might let stick around longer than they should, wanting to avoid the trigger of giving you a 1/1. But I think if you're playing against this card, you just kind of gotta accept your losses and push it or harness lightning it, and like, yeah, they get a 1/1, but like,
But that's still huge as a card, right? Like having something when it dies.
yeah, especially if your removal's red, you just gotta snap it off and like let them have a 1/1, because if they get enough mana, you can't kill this thing later.
Yeah. Yeah, card's very good.
Yeah.
Speaking of 6 mana activated abilities.
Moving on to number 4, we have Resplendent Angel. 3 mana, 2 white and 1 for a 3/3 angel with flying. At the beginning of each end step, if you gain 5 or more life this turn, you create a 4/4 white angel token with flying and vigilance. Whoa. And for 3 white and 3, 6 mana, until end of turn, Resplendent Angel gets +2/+2 and gains lifelink. So 3 mana for a 3/3 flyer, it's fine.
That's already fine.
It's already quite good, actually. Like it's
already strong.
Yeah.
In the decks that want to play it, that's already strong.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then, its own activation like allows it to create a 4/4 angel, but you don't have to activate this card to get the 4/4 angel out of it.
You just need to have gained 5 life.
Yeah, which like makes that card just so much better.
Is there this is an angel? I can't think of any other white cards in Standard that
Are there other playable white angels
that are maybe an angel that can gain 5 in some way.
Huh.
If only
Yeah, I can't
If only
seem to-
something like that was printed.
If only that existed, we would be able to play this card. Oh wait, it also makes this card a 4/4 and gives it lifelink.
That's too push. They wouldn't print it.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, this card pretty good with Lyra.
Yeah.
Dawnbringer. Also, if you have a Shalai in play that you played on curve after this, if the Shalai sticks and they haven't removed it yet, you get to activate this safely.
Mm-hmm.
It has hexproof. You don't have to worry about it paying 6 and then it getting killed. Also, you don't have to pay 6. The threat of paying 6 is good enough. I know this because we already played games with it. We tested it, and it was quite strong. Like, there were games where they're under pressure and they have to use removal on something, and let's say you top deck this card late. Okay, well, now I get to make an army. Like, every time we're top decking and you don't draw a removal spell, I get a 4/4.
Yeah.
And I gain 5, and you take 5. Like, this is the kind of card that is good early and good late, right? It gains life. Like, it just does a lot. Like, this is a card that, like, it's just a workhorse. Like, it has the potential to, it's exactly like Thorn Lieutenant, but better. It scales better. It's a good early threat that scales way better in the late game. It's way more threatening in the late game.
Mm-hmm. I really like this card. I don't think it's gonna be as great as it will. Like, I think it'll be a lot better when rotation happens.
Agreed.
Once like Braid is gone.
Yeah, it's hard right now.
But it has a lot of potential. It's obviously very powerful, and I'm not going to be surprised to see a lot of people playing this card.
Yeah, agree. I mean, even the thing is with this kind of card, though, like, even with, 4 braids and a bunch of removal spells, I mean, presumably you're playing this card, you're also playing other cards that require the use of removal spells on them.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Eventually you stick one, or
like
you have a Shalai and they just can't do anything about it.
Like, getting one activation out of this card is just so unbelievably good that it's worth playing it.
Right.
Like, if you get 1 4/4 out of this, I'm happy.
Yeah, we were already playing some decks with it, just a green-white mid-range deck, and it was quite strong. A card, actually, we were really impressed by. That's an old card that we were playing with was Baffling End. Card was very good.
Just in like these sort of aggressive white decks, it lets them get to a position where they can start activating these cards.
Yeah, because you just tag off it. Think about the cards right now in Standard that Baffling End hits out of like the blue-black mid-range deck. Championwits, Glensleeve. Like, these are all cards that are very problematic, and you want exiled. You don't want them coming back. And so, like, this card I think has a home. Like you said, it might not be as good. Maybe it's very good with a Johnny. Who knows? I tried it, was medium, but
I mean, that seems fine.
This card is like on its own. Also, this is maybe the best card in Limited in the set.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough to play against.
It's gonna be so hard to beat.
I don't think there's a better card in Limited. I think this is so threatening and so dangerous because you just lose on spot.
Yeah.
Because either, like, if you don't, in both cases, if you don't have the removal early, you're dead in the air. If you don't have the removal late, you're beyond dead. So this card is insane and limited. And I think in Standard, it's going to see play. I think it's very good.
Yep. Definitely a lot of potential. Really like this card. Moving on to number 3.
Oh yeah, Chromium the Mutable. This card is a beating. Originally, this wasn't on my list at all on top 10.
It wasn't
and then
online
I
either.
smashed you with it.
Yeah, and now it's it's number 3 because I got crumpled by Cam playing against it. And I was so ahead, I thought, at the time that he cast it. He flashed it in end of turn. And I had
Yeah.
like a Torrential Gearhulk, a Bloodfast, a Chandra, and like a bunch of like mana. And I got eaten alive by this card. It killed my Planeswalker, and then it killed me 3 turns. Well, like 5 turns later, where I was sacking Torrential Gearhulks for life. So this is a Esper Dragon. It's 4 colorless, and then a white, a blue, and a black. It has flash. It can't be countered. It's a 7/7 flyer. It's Chromium the Mutable. And the Mutable is you can discard a card, and until end of turn, Chromium the Mutable becomes a human with power and toughness, 1/1, loses all abilities, and gains hexproof. It can't be blocked this turn.
Yeah.
The card is a control. We were trying to think, like, why was it so good? Well, what was the issue with the control decks? They'd played no win condition because there was no safe one,
Yeah.
This, you can't kill this thing. It's what
How
Nezahal
you
should have
ever-
been.
Yeah. Like, you have to discard 1 card.
Not 3.
Yeah.
Every card in their hand is a counterspell,
Yeah.
right? So, and I couldn't. I tried to double Vraska's Contempt it, and
Yeah.
it's just like, just to stay alive. Like, I had to do, it wasn't that I was trying to kill it. I had to do it to not die. And then I just had nothing left and then just died to the 7/7 in the air. This card is unkillable. It's an incredible threat. If they stay, it can't be countered. There's, if you don't Doomfall it out of their hand, it's going to kill you.
People were already playing. So I was playing it in a Esper Teferi control deck, which people are already playing. It's like a known deck. And this just really pushes it over the top because, like, that deck could win with just Teferis. Like, that was its win con. And so your opponents already have to dedicate a lot of resources to killing Teferi. And then if you ever have one of these things, now they're either out of resources or they didn't deal with the Teferi. And if you ever have a Teferi end this, like, you'll always have more cards to discard than them while casting other counter spells. While, like, you just,
7/7
it was great.
is also gigantic.
Yes, it's bigger than everything in the format.
Yeah, that's what killed me. I couldn't
Yeah.
attack into it. My Torrential Gearhulks did nothing.
Yeah.
My Scarab God did nothing. Like, I couldn't attack into it. I couldn't. And I just got hit in the air for 7. 7's a lot of damage.
Yeah. It's super interesting too because you try and kill this card before it attacks, and they discard a card, and it can still attack as a 1/1 because it's unblockable.
That happened.
That's
actually, as well.
that's like it's such an interesting design on a card and super cool.
Yeah, it's a cool card. It's exciting. It's flashy. You won't have to suffer through conceding to Teferi because they'll just kill you with this. Card was wild. It wasn't even on my mind as a top 10 card
Yeah.
until, I got absolutely destroyed by it. Like, I got picked apart over turns with it, and I was helpless.
Yeah. Like
And I was
control
playing the
control
blue-black
decks are
mid-range
gonna just have to keep settle the wreckage in their deck to be able to deal with this.
post board in the
Yeah.
control mirror. This card is
No.
unbeatable. It's the most important card in the control mirrors, right?
Yeah. Well, you have to keep and settle for it because
Yeah.
how else you get it?
Well,
how-
the counter you settle, you lose too. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Like.
just-
Yeah, then you have a settle in your hand and they get to do whatever they want until they find a negate.
Yeah. I know. It's such like it just. Oh, it's gonna be so horrible.
You just block with your own.
Yeah. No, I really like this card. It's awesome.
No, very interesting card. Very, very powerful. The power level on it is through the roof.
Yeah.
This is actually like, I am curious how this will play out in control mirrors if they become that popular. Because, like, say I attack with mine, I'm untapped,
Mhm.
and they flash in theirs to block because they can't do anything else. If they block and now I like Vraska's Contempt theirs, are they going to make it a 1/1 and gets eaten by a 7/7?
Yeah.
Yikes.
What they
Yeah,
let
like
it go?
that's,
Like,
a,
ton
that's a yikers.
Yeah. There's a ton of cool play to it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
also cool in the sense of like, are they willing to discard both cards if I double removal spell, like with holding, with the trigger on the stack of the transformation? Like, there's a lot of interesting play to this card. So that's also why I think it's exciting.
Yeah.
After having played against it. Yeah, it's rules. Cool card.
Yep. Definitely. Moving on to number 2.
so this is Sarkhan Fireblood.
Also wasn't on my top 10 at all, but
Yeah, kind of a
This card-
sleeper.
I think this card it is a sleeper, and I don't understand why people don't think it's as busted.
So I think
as
a
it
lot
is.
of people look at it and see Tybalt.
no, like they look at
then-
it and people.
okay, read what it does, and then
All
we
right.
can talk about whether it's Tybalt.
So it costs 3. It costs 1 red. Enters with 3 loyalty. +1, you may discard a card if you do draw a card. Second +1, add 2 mana in any color to your mana pool, and that mana can only cast dragons. And -7, create 4/5/5 red dragon creature tokens.
With flying.
Yeah, they're dragons.
What if they got their legs chopped off?
Sarkon wouldn't
they
stand
don't
for
need
such
They can't balance.
atrocity.
No, they can't balance. They
They
need
still
the
have
weight on the bottom.
You said legs. They still have wings.
Yeah, but they need to balance. It's like a cat losing their tail. They just fall all over the place.
You are correct that cats without tails can't fly. So
Whoa.
Out of bed. Our resident dragon expert.
Dragon biologist. Okay. So the plus ability sounds a lot like Tibble to me.
until you realize that it's not Tibble, it's just Nahiri.
Yeah, Nahiri also did this.
Yes, and she was nuts for it.
Yes, and people thought Nahiri was busted at one point to the point where people played it in Modern and thought it was going to be a problem.
Like, when they print Planeswalkers now, people automatically just look at does it protect itself? And this card doesn't protect itself.
It doesn't have to. It costs 3.
It costs 3 mana, and it makes mana. It makes mana.
Yeah, that's okay. So that was the thing that we. So
I pushed it over the top.
We played with this card, and we were like, I was like, I don't know, we'll try it out. The rummage was insane because first I tried it in an aggro deck where I was like pitching a Scrap Heap Scrounger if I needed.
Yeah.
When you get to ramp into a Glorybringer and then also cast a removal spell, like you get to Magma Spray something and play a Glorybringer, and like, you know, if they, I don't know, play a Scarab God, and then you're just like, okay, plus make mana Glorybringer, exert Magma Spray your Scarab God. Like that's the fact that it ramps out Glorybringers and another important dragon, and it's any color. Like it's not, you know, he makes any color mana.
I like, and both its first abilities are +1s. It doesn't minus until you ultimate.
And
it just always ticks up.
Wins the game. And it's a 3 mana Planeswalker. Like 3 mana is not a lot.
Yeah, like
3 mana can often sneak under counter spells. It often gets onto the battlefield before there's a lot of creatures to oppose it. So then you get your turn 4 to protect it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, and being able to get rid of your crappy dead removal spells against control decks and turn them into other cards.
Yeah,
like control's gonna have such a pain in the ass dealing with this kind of card.
This is just so like the reason the blue-black midrange deck has so much play against everything is because of Champion of Wits. It can do exactly that, find what it needs and get rid of what it doesn't. And this, I think, in red midrange shells, is just the red Champion of Wits.
Yeah,
plus the red Mana Dork, plus the red Wincon.
Yeah,
it does so much, and it costs 3 mana.
Yeah, it was very, very, very good when I tested games with it, and it was good against aggressive decks because it found me the pieces I need. It was good against other, you know what I mean? It was good against mid-range decks.
People calling this the second coming of Tibble do not know what they're talking about. This card is so much better on every level. Like,
and I think this is also a card that benefits post-rotation.
You think so?
When this is a smaller set and we're talking about being able to safely cast Bolus, because you can it's not add 2 mana of one color. It's add 2 mana of any combination.
Yeah.
Then, like, we're talking about something that's like fixes your mana too. It's not just ramping. It's like ramp and fixing. And
but we lose Glorybringer.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll print another busted dragon to
probably
go along. Go along with the other
Bone Dragon.
Hey, you're playing red and black. Sure, yeah. Bone Dragon's actually sick with this card. Think about it. Like, you can pitch it if you don't need it and get it back later. Or you can play it on turn 4 safely because you ramped into it.
Yeah,
it gets back your Spitfires. Yeah, it's cool. I'm part of me wants to be like, I cannot believe I'm sitting here saying this card's good because like it sounds like I'm saying you should play Dragon Tribal and that'll be good. Like I just sound like such a filthy casual. But like, I didn't think this card would be good. It was not even going to be on my top 10 list when Alex messaged us being like, all right, everybody's job for the podcast recording, like get your lists ready and we'll compare, blah, blah, blah. And we'll do all your homework, right? And I was like, this card's like trash. No one going on my list, you know? And then Pete was like, no, I think that card's good. And I was like, I don't know. And we'll try it. It's very good.
You can you bet your ass I'm going to try and make this card work.
We've already made it work. Don't worry. Contact us for brews.
This card is sweet. I'm very excited to play with it.
I think, maybe even if it doesn't like break out and become very popular in Standard, you could build a deck around this that will always be good in Standard. And just as Adam was saying, like it sounds goofy because it looks like a Dragon Tribal card, but I think like deck building around this card can demonstrate like this often happens that like there are tribal themes in a set, and the good decks don't go all in the tribal. They just play like the good cards. Like they'll play Thorn Lieutenant and no other elves, or they'll play this and enough of the good dragons and they won't go all in.
Right, like just because I'm playing Resplendent Angel doesn't mean I have to play Crested Sunmare. I'm going to, but
you don't have to, right?
It doesn't mean what's the 1/3 life gain horse?
Diamond Mare, man.
Yeah, Diamond Mare. It doesn't
That's
mean
a
I'm going to play
combo.
mono white horse life gain. Because if I'm playing a horse deck, I'm playing 5-color hate horses.
If you curve,
You know the new
Yeah.
5 mares that all are like color hate horses?
5-color 8 horses.
Yeah, dude, unclaimed
the
territory.
AKA the spiteful barnyard.
Unclaimed. You just name horses.
With
You have a
unclaimed
rainbow
territory.
land.
Oh my god.
You curve in
Oh,
your top,
man.
your 2-drop is the silver mare, like the
Yeah, the Diamond Mare,
Diamond
the colorless
Mare.
one, so you
Yeah.
can set up your mana.
your white one gains life. But
Yeah.
then you also have crested
Yeah.
sun mare at the top. You just
Yeah.
all horses, unclaimed territory. You know, good to
Yeah,
go.
all your horses are indestructible, and like one of them's going to get through.
Oh man, and you do get to play unclaimed territory. 'Cause everything's
exactly.
a horse.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's the 5-color spiteful horses.
Come to the DWC for your groundbreaking brews. Live on air.
Hate bears? Get out of here, you. We're refined. We're equestrian gentlemen. If we hate, we do it in an aristocratic fashion. Come check out our spiteful barnyard.
Oh man. All right.
Nice red deck.
Okay.
Game
So
on.
if you haven't already guessed what our number one is, we've mentioned it multiple times already. It's Nicol Bolas, the Ravager. This card's awesome.
Phil, when I said it was good to Phil, he's like, "Oh yeah, imagine saying Ravenous Rats is playable in 2018, which is a 2-mana 1/1 when it enters battlefield and bonus discard a card." He's like, "Yeah, think of that card's playable in 2018." He's like, "You're an idiot." And I was like, "To be fair, he's right. All new cards suck." However, I'm pretty sure when it's a 4-mana 4/4 flyer that does that.
Yep.
Yeah. Seemed like
With
4 mana,
A
4
bunch of other
flyers.
utility.
Yeah.
It's got a relevant type. It's a dragon, so you can cast it with your Sarkons. It gets
Yeah.
back your Spit Flames.
And if you just have 7 mana floating around with Grixis colors, you can turn it into a Planeswalker and win the game immediately.
Yeah, the flip side. What you want to read? You want to take this
All
thing
right.
away? You read this whole
Okay.
thing. This
Four
this novel.
mana, 1, a blue, a black, and a red for a 4/4 flyer. When Nicol Bolas the Ravager enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card. This is an Elder Dragon. And for 4 generic, a blue, a black, and a red, you can exile Nicol Bolas the Ravager, then return him to the battlefield under your control transformed. You can play this ability only when you can cast a sorcery. And then it flips into a 7 loyalty Planeswalker. That +2s to draw 2 cards, -3 to deal 10 damage to a creature or Planeswalker, -4 to put target creature or Planeswalker from a graveyard,
It brings back
a
Planeswalkers.
graveyard,
Yeah.
onto the battlefield under your control. And -12, exile all but the bottom card of target player's library.
They're already dead.
Yeah, we don't need to do that. They're already dead.
Dude, this card's nuts.
It's insanely powerful. At its worst, we were talking about this. Okay, its worst, it gets Essence Scattered. Whatever.
Yeah, we can.
At its worst, when it resolves, it's an automatic 2-for-1.
No other cards are bad against Essence Scatter.
Yeah, everything.
Hazaret,
Right. Like,
Glorybringer.
right. Yeah, that's why I'm saying.
Rekindling
Like, people
Phoenix.
saying that, I'm like, you don't understand. Like,
Yeah.
if this card resolves in every matchup, it's good.
Yeah.
It just needs to resolve, and it's
Yeah.
already great. It already made them discard a card.
Mhm.
We already played games with it.
We
The fact it was a 4/4 flyer was berserk.
It brick walled everything except Hazaret,
in mono red.
and it died to Chandra, and that was it.
Yeah, it dies to Chandra, but that's fine if they have to minus right away because you're playing.
You can't Glorybringer it because it's a dragon.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
like it brick walled
Oh,
everything.
man.
It ate Red's last card in their hand, which was also nuts.
yeah.
Like we played it against fair decks, and the fair decks couldn't do anything. Like the green white decks, like the fair decks, like it came down on 4, and you're just like, oh no! Like I have to discard a card.
Yeah.
I'm a fair deck. I need every card I have
Yeah.
to function, and then I also have to remove this thing, and then they're gonna play another one, and they play another one, and the game ends.
Like, this is the type of legendary that you can just play 4 of.
we played 4 in every deck we built
Like,
it in.
if your turn 5 is attack with Bolas for 4, play a new Bolas and sack the one I attacked with, like, that's still nuts.
Because you're already still up on cards because you made them
Yeah.
discard. Like, and you would think, like, at first when I saw this, like, I was sitting on the porch. I remember it was a few weeks ago, and I was just sitting on the porch, like, reading it on my phone. And I was like, like, you'll never flip it. Like, and, they'll just kill it in response. That's not how games play
It's only
out.
3 turns later.
This is not how games play out.
Yeah.
They have to discard. From
Yeah.
you playing it, it enables its flip. And just like Resplendent Angel and just like Thorn Lieutenant, those abilities seem like they're too much, but they're optional. The card on its own is already playable. It's already fine at its floor.
Yeah.
Its ceiling is insane. And same goes with those other cards that its ceiling is, they're top decking now and they don't have it and they just lose.
Yeah. So my immediate thought when I saw this was, man, this is an awesome design. This card's incredibly good, but The only thing I'm worried about is the shell around it good?
Yes.
Yes.
And-
What shell? Which one do you want?
Doesn't really matter. If you are playing this in blue, black, splash, red with Scarab God, and they discard a card and then deal with this, and then you Scarab God it back.
Yeah, that's how I lost a lot of games against Cam, where I was playing a fair deck. I would just be fighting through boluses because he was playing 4, and I'd finally like get through the boluses, even out of the blue black mirror when he's playing blue black splash bolus.
Yeah.
And I deal with the boluses and everything, and then all of a sudden like Scarab God comes down. I'm like, oh yeah.
And then they can draw step you. If you're top decking, they can just reanimate a bolus in your draw step. Make you
I mean,
pitch
you're
it.
dead already if they're reanimating stuff with Scarab God.
Sure, but they can.
But they make sure that you
but
can't.
This is a line they can take.
Right, that you don't get to play your own Scarab God you just drew. Right, like they take. Yeah, like this card is bonkers.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've pre-ordered a card in the years.
Yeah.
I pre-ordered 3 copies. So I'm just like banking on open one at pre-release.
Adam was playing it alongside Sarkhan in like a base red Grixis deck.
Yeah.
And there were games where like I'd have a contempt or I'd have a removal spell or I could choose kind of where to try and send damage. And I'm looking at a Chandra, a Sarkhan that's at 7 that's about to ultimate, and a Bolus that's about to flip.
What do you do?
You concede.
Yeah, and I was playing like Grixis aggro. Like I was playing like Glint Sleeves.
Oh yeah,
Scrap
and I'm at
Heaps.
5. Like
Yeah, like Scrap Heap Scrounger. Like I was playing really aggressive because I was just base red, black, splashing blue. If I didn't have a Sarkhan, I needed it to cast my Bolus. But otherwise, like I was just playing like red, black aggro with Glory Bringers and this. And it was like with 4 Glory Bringers, 4 Bolus, like, yeah, get to play all the aggro cards. And I play Sarkhan, which isn't as aggressive, but it's fine because it's going to enable like a bunch of stuff and like let me cast Glory Bringers or this easily and quickly and still other spells in the same turn. Like if I need to rummage to find pieces, I was discarding Scrap Heap Scrounger, right? Like to rummage, get it back later. It was, and that was on the aggressive deck, and that deck wasn't even as good. The decks where we just played it in mid-range with like, Harness Lightnings or Braids and Whirler Virtuosos and Glint Sleeves, like the old Grixis Energy deck, that's what we were playing it in, were berserk. Like it was nuts. And in that version, we were playing with Spit Flames.
yeah.
We were playing with so our deck was like Spit Flames, Sarkans, Nico Bolas, 4 Glory Bringer, and it was just like Glint Sleeve, and then all the removal early. And like we were just
And then just like a Grixis Energy Shell.
in a Grixis Energy Shell. It was just smashing. Like it was insane. Like it felt so unfair. Like the card is so good. Like at worst, it's a 2-for-1. Like basically, like card nuts. I thought they were going to move away from the the pushed mythics that are part of the story, but I guess they can't with this one.
No.
They almost
There's no way we're wrong on this one, right?
No, this card's
No. We're never wrong. What are you talking about?
Well, on spoilers, like we'll talk about cards that we just think are fun.
yeah, and then they don't show up at all. But
And that's like we don't care. We just think they're sweet.
Yeah.
this card's almost not fun,
It's not
depending
fun.
on which side you're on.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a lot of fun casting this card.
Oh, me too.
I really thought they were going to print an Ugin card in this set as well.
Yeah, me too.
I was kind of let down that they didn't.
Yeah, maybe they couldn't find a way to design it safely because it's colorless, right?
Yeah.
And the last Ugin came moments away from destroying Standard. If Heroes Downfall had not been in that format,
Oh, man.
Ugin would have single-handedly ruined that entire Standard format. Because it was obnoxious to play against. It was so miserable.
Yeah.
If Thoughtseize and Heroes Downfall aren't in that format, like that card single-handedly ruins like a year of Standard. They have to be so careful with printing something like Ugin. So I get it. But yeah, this card's wild. I think it's an easy number 1. It's an obvious number 1.
Yeah.
And usually we don't pick an obvious number 1, I think. Well,
But
Karn.
A lot of the other cards on our list, we said like we weren't really considering this, or this wouldn't have been as high until we played with it, and then like, it's actually pretty good. This card was just number 1 from the beginning. Thought it was nuts. It turned out better.
Yeah, this card is so good that our honorable mentions that we're going to talk about made me insist that this card was going to be good because Bolus was so good.
Yeah. So if you want to have some counterplay against opponent's Nicol Bolas, because I don't know, there's something wrong with
the
you.
only
You don't like playing Grixis.
No, there is one reason. You want to play History Benalia.
Yeah, that's true.
That you want to play History Benalia decks, you need a way to deal with Bolus and Bolus strategies. And so I was making the argument that I thought a Johnny's Last Stand was like an interesting and cool card, and one you could like main deckably hate against Bolus decks, and it's still fine.
Do you want to pull up the text of a Johnny's Last Stand?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think it's cool design, and it's like I wanted to bring it on the spoilers episode because we also like to talk about cards we just think are interesting or cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a Johnny's Last Stand, it costs 2 white. It's in a 4-mana enchantment. whenever a creature or a planeswalker you control dies, you may sacrifice a Johnny's Last Stand. And if you do, you create a 4/4 white avatar creature token with flying. So you make a 4/4 flyer if something you control dies while this is on the field. And its other text is, if a spell or an ability an opponent controls causes you to discard this card, and if you control a planes, then you get to make the 4/4 token as well. So
it's an obstinate bailout style.
it's an obstinate in a white deck. Yeah, this is just
You can preemptively play it out against fumigator removal spells.
Yeah.
It can upgrade a Llanowar Elf that use Suicide Attack, or they're not going to want to block your Merfolk Branchwalker or whatever early creature, or your Knights from History Benalia because they're worried.
Because they'll just upgrade into a 4/4, and if they play a Bolus, you get to pitch this and make a 4/4 to contest it.
Right. So I think it's a cool card. You're not down a card. This is a card that doesn't put you down against a Bolus resolving in those colors, and that's for sure why they printed it. And normally they kind of screw up these
It's got Bolus getting zapped in the art.
What more do you want?
It tells you. It just plays itself.
But I think it's actually an interesting card, though. It's an interesting design. Normally, the sort of like hate cards are not that interesting, but
Yeah. I think it's a little too cute, but it's definitely a really cool design. I like it.
yeah, I think if Bolus is a 4 of in every deck, the green white decks don't have a choice.
You have to do something.
The History of Benalia decks have to play this card because they can't win through discarding a card from their hand. They just can't.
Yeah.
They need to play this card. So. The other interesting thing is it's an it's an avatar. Never mind. I was going to say, I thought it was an angel.
If it was an angel, that'd be
good with Lyra.
pretty good.
Not
Yeah.
just an avatar.
Yeah, what are you going to do? But we have some other honorable mentions. Like we didn't mention a lot of the planeswalkers. There's like Vivian Reed, which is going to be fine. It'll be a role player.
Yeah.
I think Liliana's bad.
Liliana, I think everyone sort of reached the conclusion that Liliana, if she's to be good, the zombie shell has to be good. And then even then, like she might not be good enough.
Yeah.
And pretty sure the zombie shell is bad, and even if it's good, she's not great in it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think if zombies is good, which I don't think
Everything that needs to line up
like
for
her
that card to
plus
be good is
doesn't
going wrong.
do anything. Like it's 4 mana drain 2.
It looks like Chandra's plus on the surface until you realize that it can't draw a card.
Yeah.
Which Chandra's can. Like,
and then the minus, you still have to pay for the zombies you're trying to recast.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
what am I getting out of this? Like it just it's a yikers.
Yeah. Beyond that, we had cards like Infernal Reckoning, which they said they designed for modern, which is kind of why we took it out of our top 10.
But it's also going to see standard play until Heart of Kieran and Scrap Heap Scrounger rotate.
yes.
Yeah.
Because it's going to smash those cards. That card
It will
nuts.
be like just as Chandra's defeat, because of the popularity of Chandra and Hazaret and Glorybringer, is in the sideboard of every red deck. Infernal Reckoning for these next 3 months will be in the sideboard of every black deck. It might even like significally hate out vehicles or like reduce its
you gain life
popularity.
equal to its power, right?
Yes, and it exiles. It gets rid of Scrap Heap forever.
Yeah, it's a 1 mana instant, one black instant that you exile a colorless creature and you gain life equal to its power. Like that's insane.
Mhm.
So, but it's also sort of like,
Right, it's like a sideboard card. It depends on what other
and
people
it
are playing.
won't matter
but
in 3 months probably, right?
in
So-
standard, probably not. No.
Yeah.
but in
then-
modern, it's nuts.
Well, yeah, they designed it for modern.
Yeah, it's absurd in modern.
Yeah, it's very good.
Ironically, probably only be a 1 of 2 of though, because
I mean,
it's modern sideboards.
your sideboard slots are so
Taxed.
Yeah.
But it's nice to sort of add to the ceremonious rejection slot. Like blue decks have colorless hate cards.
Yeah.
Now black do.
But yeah, then we have cards like Omniscience, which was like weird decks happened last time it was in standard, so
like
maybe something will
hilariously
happen
sweet
again.
decks. Oh man, look at all the crazy cards in standard that you could cast off. There's like Apex of Power. There's all these like random crazy like 12 mana cards. I'm sure someone is gonna make something crazy happen with Omniscience.
That'd be sweet.
How does it work with X cards? X has to be 0? Or
X is 0.
or you can still pay mana for X cards? Or
like if it was like 3X, you get the 3 for free, but you pay X.
yeah.
I'm not actually sure how that
I have no
works.
idea.
Then we have Nexus of Fate, which is the buy box promo, the 7 mana blue instant. You take a extra turn.
And you shuffle it in. I don't think this card's good at all.
It's too expensive.
Mono blue taking turns in modern, I'm listening, but
I don't know if there's enough fogs.
no,
Turbo fog might be a thing.
if there's an Omniscience deck.
Yeah, like you can't.
If you can cast this every turn with your Omniscience for free while doing other stuff.
It's not an effect worth 7, and you can't even guarantee you cast it for free because it gets shuffled into your deck. How are you drawing one every turn?
Yeah, like
Well, if it's the last card in your library, Cam.
because you have to like you got to find it with all the other 12 or 10 mana spells you cast off your Omniscience.
Right, so it's the last
This
card
is
in your
an
library.
Omniscience combo
It's the
card.
last card in your library, which means that most of your library is in your graveyard and
Yeah.
you've used it, which
Yeah.
means that you probably have 4 or 5 cards in your hand.
Yeah.
So while you're casting this to take the rest of the turns in the game, how are you killing them with 4 or 5
Why
cards?
do you
Exactly.
hate fun?
Exactly, Kim.
I don't hate fun. This card's not fun.
Yeah, I agree. But I think it's interesting and might lead to some cool stuff.
Yeah. Then
Oh yeah, all the other Elder Dragons are kind of cool too. They might see play. They're weird. Like the Jund one is super bizarre, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
The one that's like
That's a commander card.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's like bizarre. It's just bizarre design.
Yeah.
I think the Doran Dragon's hilarious, right? The Defender toughness matters. In Standard, it's like if there was another copy of this card, right?
These
It's
are
the
commander
classic.
cards.
I know it's the
Yeah.
classic like rule of 8.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying if there was like a Doran Siege Tower, this would see play in Standard.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah.
There is. There's a dino.
Oh, there is.
Okay, never mind. This
But
is busted.
no,
I'm
but
just-
that one only works with other dinos.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, that sucks. Because we need to play Wall of Mist, the 2-mana 0/6 defender.
Yeah, sure.
That's the best card in our deck. It's a 2-mana 6/6 Cam.
But we're-
That's nuts.
Yeah, no, yeah, it is crazy.
And it draws a card.
There's that 4-mana wall that gets indestructible. You just have a 6/6 indestructible for 2.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's nuts. But we can only put 4 of these in our deck, and if we don't draw them, we're playing 2-mana with 6 defenders and constructed.
Right, but we will draw them because who's going to kill us? We have 0/6s.
If there was the one card in Standard, what's it called? What's that crazy card in Cube? It's like one of the best control cards in Cube. It's the 07 wall that has hexproof and flying. For control decks in Cube, it's like bonkers.
I don't know.
I can't remember what it's called. But it's a blue, a white, and a colorless. And it's an 07
Oh, yeah,
wall
yeah.
with hexproof and flying.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Let's see if Google.
That card is busted in Cube. It's like one of the best control cards. If that card was legal in Standard, how's anyone going to kill you? You just play 4.
Huh.
It's right there. Wall of Denial.
Yeah, Wall of Denial, right? Oh, it's
Oh,
Shroud.
it's Shroud.
Sorry,
It's
my
an
bad.
08.
Oh, it's an 08. This is more busted than I thought. It stops Chromium. Control just can't even win. They have to make it human every turn.
Yeah, it's true.
But no, this card nuts. Yeah, right? If this card was legal, then I'm in. I'm building this deck, and you can't stop me.
It's even in the same colors.
You know where this
I'm where?
this card is legal in Commander. If you want to go play.
I don't.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
damn.
Maybe I do. If we're playing French EDH, I'm listening. What else? Mentor of the Meek should get a shout out because like that card saw play when
Yeah.
it was last in Standard and it was interesting and saw some cool like, you know, sort of like tier 2, tier 3 brews play it, and it's a cool card that lets like the white weenie deck pop off, sorta, because they're limited by mana. But yeah, no, it's a cool card.
Yeah.
We had the horses, which we talked about.
Yeah.
The hate mares. Right?
Nice.
Well, that's what they
Nice.
are, the hate mares.
Yeah. That's sweet. And then lands matter cards.
So I won't go on a huge rant about this, but like
There's a bunch of like weird seeds. Like they reprinted Crucible of Worlds, they reprinted Scape Shift.
Multani is a card.
And there's enough of these that like if it was one, you'd be like, all right, it's a reprint for Modern and a core set. But there's enough of these that you're like, what did they imagine people would be doing with this in Standard?
Right. There's also like
Well,
mending-
maybe they just imagined nothing and they just actually just reprinted them from modern.
Maybe, but there's
Maybe.
also like mending of Dominaria in Dominaria, which like puts all your lands from the graveyard into play. And the like,
I'm skeptic.
I'm not saying that this is a deck. I'm saying like I don't know what they're doing, and I'm like,
It makes you wonder what they're gonna print.
yeah, it makes me wonder what they're gonna print. But I'm also just like, there has to be some like wacky brew in Standard right now that just like cycles its lands like from play to graveyard over and over again, and that somehow is sweet. But I don't know what it is. Maybe it's Tatiova, and you just like gain 20 and draw 20, but then like.
We do have Crucible and Ramunap Exuvator now.
But like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Look at
Yeah.
all these lands matters cards. There's like,
Yeah.
there's so many of them. There's like 20 different lands matters cards, and they're like these huge, flashy, crazy lands matters cards, but they don't do anything.
No,
like they
you don't-
don't win. And
No,
I
no.
want to know, like,
Here's
if
what-
any brewers are listening, how do we win?
I got
No.
it. We were talking about how do you win with 4 or 5 cards once you're casting Nexus of Fate every turn. So because we did all this land stuff, Scape Shift with Tatiova, we've drawn our entire deck. We have enough mana that we can cast Nexus of Fate every turn, and we can keep bringing back Hypno Rivulets and just mill
That's
our
what I
opponent.
was just thinking.
Oh, you
yeah.
mill them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just
You just
Hypno
mending your
Rivulet them.
mill.
How
It's
deep
a
are we
mill
going?
deck. It's a Turbo Fog land mill deck.
Yeah, with Nexus of Fate,
Yikes.
Escape Shift,
Oh,
Crucible of Worlds.
Well, the mending of but the mending of Dominaria Escape Shift is a combo. You sack all your lands, and then mending of Dominaria brings, and they come in untapped, by the way, from mending of Dominaria.
How about that?
So we can time it as well because it's a saga.
Just get all the lands out of my deck.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Sam Black had this crazy deck and it saw play for a while at like tier 1 level? That was like, what was that card? It's like you sack a number of lands and then shuffle everything in.
Oh,
What was that crazy
the
deck?
green-black deck?
Yeah.
Oh, the Great
Dude,
Aurora.
The Great Aurora.
I lost to him playing that in GP New York.
Yeah, dude.
He beat me. I was on green white tokens.
That's
He
what I'm
smashed
saying.
me.
There's got to be some wacky like Great Aurora style deck that we're just not seeing that like anyone's seeing, right? Like,
Well, Sam Black will see it. We just got to wait.
let me put on my tinfoil hat. We'll get there eventually. So anyone listening, let me know. But I'm telling you, there's got to be like.
My
right.
bet's that it's an infinite.
See, you laughed
deck.
at first. You're like, no way. But now now you think about it, you're like, Great Aurora was like crumpling people for a while.
It was
Define crumpling.
How do we define crumpling?
It was sometimes winning games when it was cast.
Yeah.
He definitely crumpled me.
Yeah, there you go.
That's for sure.
Get rich.
He smashed me.
Um,
Yeah.
speaking
All right.
of getting smashed.
Yeah, you had the blowout from the modern event.
Oh man, yeah, we're over on time. Yeah, we should jump to this blowout. So, as I've told modern stories on this podcast before, and they've definitely involved Mike because this has happened to me every single time we play against each other in modern events. He always plays Scape Shift, I always play Tron, and he always top decks the Scape Shift the turn before I beat him. Happens every single time. Not even joking or exaggerating. It actually happens every single time. So, fast forward to this top 8. Nothing's different. He's playing Green Red Titan Shift with Bloodbraid Elves. I'm playing Tron. So, he smashes me game 1 with an insane draw. I smash him game 2 because I was on the play. Just kind of,
Just modern things.
yeah, turn 3 Karn, thanks for coming out. And then game 3, he has a pretty quick ramp draw. He has 2 cards in hand. I play a Thought-Knot Seer. I'm like, all right, look at his hand. It's Bloodbraid Elf and it's Scape Shift. So I'm looking, I'm like, well, this is kind of funny. I said this out loud. Adam was standing right there. I'm like, so I'm going to take the Scape Shift here, but it doesn't matter because he's going to cut his deck. He's just going to top deck the Scape Shift anyway.
Yep.
So I'm going to take it, but I'm still going to lose because he's going to top deck Scape Shift.
Well, yeah, he sacks his Secure Tribe Elder and
Yeah.
turn after this.
To go up to 7 lands, and then shuffles his deck, puts it in front of me. I cut it. And I'm like, I tap the top. I'm like, there's your Scape Shift, buddy. He flips over Scape Shift. Everyone bursts out laughing. I'm like, haha, this is hilarious. I knew it was going to happen. Top deck Escape Shift. But I was at 20 life because I was playing Tron and I don't have any fetch lands in my deck. So now he's faced with the conundrum of, does he put me to 2 life and leave me with a Thought-Knot Seer, which is what he should have done, or does he kill my Thought-Knot Seer? And he killed my Thought-Knot Seer and left me at 8 life.
Because he was worried you were going to draw Ulamog or Karn and
Yeah.
get his Valakut.
Yeah, and then because of that, he took his top deck Scape Shift, which I cut him to, and he lost an unlosable game because of it, which is the blowout.
Because he got Scape Shift a turn early.
Yeah.
And he was like too excited about it, but we're also
Yeah.
worried
Oh,
about
yeah.
getting Karned and like,
Yeah,
so it's like a counter blow. Yeah, it was great.
yeah.
I mean, I would have
yeah.
cast it. If there's a bunch of people standing around like cheering because I top deck something, like, hey, just pay the mana.
Yeah. It was just hilarious because I'm like, yeah, here's your Scape Shift. It happens every time. Like, here
But
you
this
go.
time it
And then
wasn't enough to win the game.
And then he top decked it, but to his own demise, and I still won.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I was laughing very hard when it happened. When he flipped Escape Shift, it was like, I just burst out laughing so hard. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, wow, that's unreal.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
It was a good one.
But I mean, yeah, it happens every time. It's gonna happen again. Like, it's just the way our matchups play out. It's crazy. It's so funny.
We were going to talk about what you should do at your pre-release. Just play grindy. It's going to be a grindy format because it's sealed. Be greedy.
It's lower powered than normal, which
Gift of
means
Paradise
games
is
will go
legal.
longer. Yes.
Gift of Paradise is a playable card. Go to town,
Core set limited in the past has been surprisingly good,
but slow.
but so
So take
Yeah.
advantage of that if you can.
I've always thought core set limited was what were good formats. They're always good.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah.
And we recommend this sort of in any limited format, but this one in particular, be extremely patient with your removal. Like, here you can do so even more because your opponent's creatures are weaker than average. You can wait. You can take some hits until you draw your weak creatures and trade. Because if you use your removal on their medium creature, and then they play a Resplendent Angel, or then they play a Bolus that's going to flip, or they have some mythic. The mythics in this set are so much unbelievably powerful, more powerful than any of the commons and uncommons.
Yeah,
that
there's
you
only like
have to save your removal.
one or two busted uncommons, like the green blue 2/3 flying elf for 4
Yeah, watch out for that thing too.
that puts counters on stuff when they attack.
Yeah,
thing's
watch out for
great.
that. thing.
Skyrider Patrol, I want to
Yes,
say.
Yeah.
but apart from that, be patient because there are cards like that will snowball and just murder you, and every other creature sucks. So just take some damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Take your time. So thank you all for joining the club this week. Make sure, as always, you check out wizardtower.com for all your Magic single needs. Free shipping on singles in Canada. If you're going to pre-release this weekend, spend it at the Wizard Tower. Great store, great prizes, lots of fun. We'll be there.
Yeah. To everyone playing pre-release, see you in 9.5 hours.
You know this, man.
And however you listen to this podcast, whether it's on Podbean, iTunes, your podcast app, leave us a review, rate the podcast, share it with your friends. Everything helps us grow. And if you want to get in contact with us, you can find us on Twitter at DWC Podcast 1 or on Facebook at the Disorganized Wizard Club Podcast. Shoot us a message. We love hearing from people. Send us your blowouts. We love telling sweet blowout stories on the show. And if there's deck lists you want us to share with you, we send them out to everyone. So give us a shout. Thanks for all listening, and we'll catch you all next week.
Later.
Later.